For today's video, we're talking about measuring with the metric system. So our learning target today is I can measure length, mass, and capacity with metric units. Please make sure you write your I know. What do you already know about metric units? And maybe you don't know anything, but maybe you know how to measure things with a ruler. So you definitely know something about measuring. Write down the date. And then we have 3 vocab words today. The first one is length, how long something is. Next is mass. Mass is the amount of matter. It's similar to weight. And capacity is how much a container holds. So at this point, please pause the video, get all this written down, and then restart the video when you are ready. So the metric system measures length, mass, and capacity. And the one that you are probably more familiar with is what's called the standard, customary, or English system. That one uses inches, pounds, and gallons, etc. We're really used to this in the United States. So the standard, customary, or English system, this one is used in the USA, in Liberia, and in Myanmar. There's 3 countries that use the standard, customary, or English system, which uses the pounds, inches, gallons, feet, yards, cups, pints, ounces, all of these things that we're used to. And then the metric system, which is what we're studying today, is literally used everywhere else. Every other country in the world uses the metric system. There's a reason for that, and we'll get into that a little bit more in the next video. But today we're just going to talk a little bit about getting familiar with what the measurements are in the metric system. So first we're going to talk about measuring length. Measuring length is with the meter, the millimeter, the centimeter, and the kilometer. And in this case, the meter, that's what we would call our base unit for length. And you'll notice that in all of the other words, millimeter, centimeter, kilometer, all of them have the word meter in them, and that's how we know that they are all for length with the base unit of a meter. So we want to have some benchmarks so we have a little bit of an understanding about how long each of these things are. So for example, 1 millimeter, that is about the thickness of a dime. So if you lay a dime down on your table, the coin, and you look at how thick the dime was, not how wide it is, how thick it is if you lay it on the table, that would be about the length of a millimeter. 1 centimeter then, about the width of a paperclip. So if you lay a paperclip down, and again, this isn't how long the paperclip is, this is how wide. If you took a paperclip and you measured how wide it was, that would be about a centimeter. 1 meter is about the height of a tall kitchen chair. And then 1 kilometer is a little more than half a mile. And these are our benchmarks. So basically, these are kind of rules to help you think about how big each one of these things are. So one type of question you might get with measuring metric is what unit you would use to measure, for example, the length of a room. If I wanted to think about how long the room I'm sitting in is right now, I could think about, would I want to measure that in dimes, paper clips, chairs, or miles? Well, to me, if I was going to measure length of a room, I would rather think about that in terms of chairs. So that means that the meter is the unit I would want to use. Now, if I was going to do the width of my notebook, and I was going to think about, okay, here's my notebook, I want to think about, would I rather do that in dimes, paper clips, chairs, or miles? Well, paper clips makes the most sense to me for measuring the length of a notebook. So that means the centimeter is the unit I would want to use. For the width of my pencil, now this isn't how long, this is how wide. So if I hold my pencil in my fingers, the distance between my fingers, Well, that to me, that makes the most sense to measure that in the thickness of a dime, in millimeters. We want something really small. And then if I was going to think about the distance from my house to Duluth, which is pretty far away from my house, I want something really big, so something closer to miles. So for the metric system, that would be kilometers. Okay? That is the first type of problem that we want to solve. Measuring mass. Mass, as we had in our definition, mass is very similar to weight. It's how much matter is being included in the object. So to measure mass, we use the gram, the milligram, and the kilogram. And as you can tell, each one of these words includes the word gram in it. So that means that gram is my base unit for weight, for mass. Okay? So again, we're going to have benchmarks. So we think about how much each of these weigh. A milligram, that's about the weight of one single grain of sugar. So think about how heavy a grain of sugar is. Not heavy. That would be really, really, really not heavy. Then 1 gram, that is about the weight of one small paperclip. So again, a paperclip is a lot bigger than a single grain of sugar, but it's still not very big. And then 1 kilogram is about the weight of a large book. So a kilogram is pretty big. Okay? So the next type of problem that we might be asked to do is to think about these units in order to figure out about how big something is. So the mass of a DVD, of a disc, we want to think about, would that be the weight of 16 grains of sugar, 16 paper clips, or 16 books? When I think about that, well, 16 grains of sugar, that's still not even close to a DVD. 16 books is way too much. 16 paper clips seems about right. So that means that the gram would be the correct measurement here. Then we have the mass of a thumbtack. The mass of a thumbtack is, here we have 200 grains of sugar, 200 paper clips, or 200 books. Well, a thumbtack, I know that's really little. That's something that we would use to push something into the wall. So I think since 200 is a big number, 200 grains of sugar is probably the closest to the weight of a thumbtack. Definitely not 200 paper clips. So I would definitely say that the mass of a thumbtack is 200 milligrams. And then the mass of a baby is 4. All right, so 4 grains of sugar, 4 paper clips, or 4 books. In this case, books definitely makes the most sense. 4 grains of sugar or 4 paper clips, that's way too small for a baby. So we're going to say that this is kilograms. Okay? And that is for measuring mass. Now we're moving on to capacity. For capacity, we have the liter, the milliliter, and the kiloliter. And again, in this case, we can see each one of these words includes the word liter. So that means that the liter is my unit for capacity. Capacity is how much a container holds. So 1 milliliter is basically just like a drop. 1 liter, then, if you can think about, we are very familiar with what a 2 liter of soda is. So this could be like a large water bottle, or basically it's half of a 2 liter of soda. A large water bottle, people carry 1 liter water bottles around. The best kiloliter. Imagine one of the big cans by your street that your parents might ask you to pull out and garbage truck picks up. If you had 8 of those, put down by the road, be about a kiloliter. A kiloliter is a lot. So the last type of question, this one is multiple choice. What is a reasonable capacity for a bathtub? Would it be 750 milliliters? Okay, so if I think about 750 milliliters, 750 drops. That's not very much. It's a big number, 750, but if I used a dropper and I took drops one at a time and 750 of them, that's not very much water. Okay, so let's think about 14 liters. If I took my water bottle and I filled it 14 times, I might be or fill up part of my sink or wash like a turtle. I could wash my turtle in 14 liters, but I think it would be pretty hard to wash a whole person. 240 liters, 240 water bottles, that's a lot more. I think if I filled my water bottle 240 times and dumped it into a tub, that might give me a good amount of bath. And then 5 kiloliters, well, 5 kiloliters, if I had 8 large garbage cans and then times 5, so 40 of like a big garbage can down by the road, that would be like a whole pool. So that would work for a bath, but that wouldn't be a good size for a bathtub in your house. So in this case, the answer is C, 240 liters. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to rewatch any part of this video at any time. Thanks so much and have a great day.